My dad definitely was freaked out. He called me and immediately told me to get to the U.S. Embassy until he can figure out how to get me back home, because it was about 2 hours away from where we lived. I was just, young, not really like worried about anything else. I knew it was a big deal when it happened, but I was too young to comprehend the scope of exactly what happened and the wars that followed afterwards. So.
Well, actually, I was out on the flight line, blocking in and blocking out aircraft when it actually occurred, and that's how I found out. There were guys inside that watched it on TV, but I was notified because the plane came back after we blocked it out to leave. It came back around and said they were on hold. They'd been shut down and we weren't doing any takeoffs. And we were told that there had been a terrorist attack and that they were shutting down all flights. And at that time, we started seeing fighters go off and bringing commercial aircraft in with fighter escorts. It was, you never expect that to happen here. You always see it happen in the world, but not to happen on our ground per se or whatever. So a little bit of shock, a little taken back. I think it took a minute to kind of take it in and really kind of believe that it happened. It's an indicator we always need to be prepared, that we always need to have an eye on what's going on, even though it's not happening here. And now I think it's much more prevalent than it's ever been. And people need to understand that, I don't know, it's a phrase, I guess, freedom's not free. You've got to be able and be willing to step up and take the challenge to make sure that everybody else in this country has the ability to say, do, and feel as they want, and that they're protected from people that don't feel that way.
Got off of work, probably a 7:30 time frame. Time I got home was 7:45, super tired. The body's not supposed to be awake at those hours, so immediately went to sleep. Shortly thereafter, at some point, I'm gonna guess 9 o'clock, 9:15, phone in my house started ringing, and it rang a couple of times. Normally, just chalk it up to telemarketers or whatever, so I didn't pay much attention. Kept ringing. Finally, got up, checked my voicemail, and it's my father. And the only message he leaves me, and I still laugh to this day, was, "Don't worry about it, she's okay." You hear that on your voicemail and you automatically think, what the frig is he talking about? So I call him back. I'm like, "Dad, what's going on?" "Well, I'm half asleep." I'm like, "What's happening?" He goes, "Have you not looked at the news or heard yet?" I said, "No." I said, "I'm working mid-shift, just got home and I'm sleeping." He goes, "Oh, the towers in New York City were attacked." Being from New Jersey, I knew exactly what he was talking about. He said a plane flew into him. And he said Jackie, who is my oldest sister, she went through the first tower that was hit by airplane 15 minutes right before the planes hit. He was able to find her in the city. She, long story short, went to our cousin's house in the city, was able to use a landline because all cell phones were down and all that, talked to her, and she was safe.
Didn't really know what to think, because sometimes people talk and don't really know how accurate or true it is, so I just kind of kept it in the back of my mind, and then I got to work and it was all over the television and playing. We got locked down on base, and pretty intense. I'm from Pennsylvania, so I was hoping that nobody that I knew was there, and then pretty much was overcome with nationality and Americanism.
Well, basically, I worked on the C9s with the medical aircraft, and so we knew there was going to be a lot of casualties and stuff like that, so we started generating our aircraft. So basically, I left my office where I was doing section chief to go out and start actually getting the aircraft ready to go and stuff. So we had one aircraft that was an ISO we had to put back together. We had another aircraft that was down for major maintenance with an engine change and stuff like that. We had to put that one back together. And I worked from like 7 o'clock that morning until probably about 10:30 that night getting all the aircraft ready to go. And they sent me home, and I had to be back in at 4 in the morning to take the aircraft up to Andrews Air Force Base, DC there.
It was very crowded. It was very crowded. A lot of people. I was 20 years old that time. It happened instantaneously. It was like you didn't know if it was an earthquake. It was right on, I want to say it was right about 34th Street when it happened. Right about where Madison Square Garden is. And if you're familiar with New York City, that's approximately from where Ground Zero is. Ground Zero is literally on like Zero or First Ave, so it's like 30 blocks north. So it seemed like instantaneously, just people, if you can imagine, you know, watching ants, if you flick a lighter in an ant hole, scattering, just people didn't know if it was an earthquake, what was going on. It was very surreal. It was very surreal. We couldn't get out anywhere. We ended up getting out about 17 hours later from Albany originally, and there were no buses, there was no movement, there was no nothing. There was no cell phone service, towers were blocked. It was about 4 minutes, if that, it took to get for the smoke and all the debris and all that to start shuffling upstate, or up city, I guess, uptown. We figured out, you know, essentially what was going on. So we were kind of we just had to keep walking north, and then by the time we got to Central Park, which is up in the like the 70th Avenue area, it's about 40 more blocks. Things were, I don't want to say as clear, but we were able to kind of take cover there and just stay until we were able to catch buses out of the city the next day. So, very surreal. What you see in the documentaries, you know, what you hear, it's true. It really is. It's the world we live in. You know, I don't want to say don't let your guard down, but, you know, instill in the future generations, you know, just, you know, a better, don't let them forget our past. That is our history. And even though it was only, you know, what, 15 years ago, it doesn't necessarily define us. It doesn't define who we are, who they are. It is our history, but, you know, we can move forward from it. We all can. But yeah, we need to, in my opinion, we need to move forward.